Hey, everybody, welcome back to another week and another episode of the Infield Report. My name is Isaac, alongside my co host and older brother, Tyler.
How's it going, everyone?
We had a great weekend of racing in North Wilkesboro in the return of points racing for the Cup Series at a minimum to North Wilkesboro. First points race in 30 years. And we had Rusty Wallace as the Grand Marshal for Sunday's race. And I'll tell you, as a fan going for the first time, I thought it was a fantastic time. It was a sellout. I saw a list of the sellouts that have happened so far in 2026 for the Cup Series. Uh, we had the Daytona 500, which is that a surprise? Not really. Texas, that was a surprise. The Coke 600, Nashville, Michigan, Pocono, San Diego, Chicagoland, and now North Wilkesboro. So it was definitely a packed house. The energy was electric. We were talking just before this about it, and it had sort of that nostalgia, like that old school feel, like Bowman Gray did. Because I was there for that race when they returned to or to Bowman Gray, and just that old school feel of short track. Something that you've got um this energy about the place. It's just different, and it was super cool. Like the leaderboard that just flashed over my shoulder here was still up. They've got a lot of vintage little things about the track that they didn't change, and it really they updated it enough to where it can accommodate the modern fans now, and it can accommodate the modern crowds, but at the same time, they kept the essence of the track, which was really, really awesome to see. And they did repave it, but I don't think that really negatively affected anything. I think it really helped them be able to come back to this track and be able to put on racing for everybody. And it was just a good time to be there, and despite the gully wash on Sunday late afternoon, I think we were only delayed about 20 minutes, 25 minutes maybe from the original green flag time, which was good to see. Because I mean, with it being a short track, you never know exactly how long it's going to take to dry. With the humidity levels and everything too, we didn't know, but they got it cleaned up and dried off pretty fast. But it was a great weekend. Like I said, the fans loved it. I loved it as a fan going. For you, I know you weren't obviously here for it, but just seeing it on TV over the last couple of years, what are your thoughts on Wilkesboro finally making its return to the NASCAR National Touring schedule?
It was a lot of fun to see. The very first year where it was the old surface and whatnot. I was kind of iffy about it. It was nice to go back. I'm like, yeah, man, if they only repaved it or did something with it, then I think almost immediately after they said yes, it's going to get a repave. I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. Maybe it turns into a one or two groove track after a couple of years. And McMurray on the pre-race did say, he was surprised on how wide it feels and how many lanes there are still to run. He says Bristol usually is fast and quick and is kind of wide, but it turns into a one or two lane with, the PJ1 or whatever fake surface they want to put down. With this, uh, they can almost go three or four wide for many, many laps and not really touch each other. But we all know that last night was everyone was touching everyone. So,
Oh yeah.
but it's one of those things where you can run three or four lanes and have great momentum, or you can keep up with someone that's got fresher tires than you. Overall, I am glad it's back in the schedule. I wasn't old enough to see or remember, the '96 race, the last one there. But I'm very very glad it's back on the schedule. I hope it's a mainstay.
I agree. It was a put on some great racing all weekend. I mean, like we said, we had the trucks come in and they had a fantastic time. It sounds like everybody had a great time. And Ryan Newman, who was running in the truck series, made a comment and said they never should have left this place. And I agree. I mean, the fans were itching for the racing to come back. I mean, and I mean Dale Jr.'s to thank for that. He was pushing for the return of it with the revitalization, and like I said, SMI did a fantastic job of getting this place back to, I don't want to say just racing condition, but beyond that. And they were able to put on a great experience for everybody. And so, as much as everybody wants to dunk on SMI and Speedway Motorsports and all that stuff, we got to give them credit where credit's due here because, again, they made this happen. And like we said, I mean, if you would have gone to the track 5, 6, 7 years ago, where you would see that there's cracks in the track, like the everything's dilapidated, like you did never think racing was going to come back, but they did a great job with it. And like I said, the truck series came in on Saturday afternoon, and they put on a performance as well. I mean, there was a guy that I didn't necessarily see taking the win in Chandler Smith. He got his second win of the year. I think he led off the season with the Daytona win, and he's been kind of quiet since. He's had some great consistency, but didn't I personally didn't see him as one of the fastest trucks out there, but he was running up towards the front. It's just I didn't think he was able to get over or get into the top 3, top 5, but he was running really well all race and ended up gaining a lot of points and again getting the race win. Lane Riggs won stage 1. I think he was the favorite going into the weekend. He's kind of turned into, I don't want to say the Corey Heim at this point, but it's like, is anybody going to be able to beat Lane Riggs, or is he just going to beat himself? And I think it was just a matter of his teammate had the better truck at the end of the night. Or at the end of the afternoon, like they made the right adjustments and they made all the right moves. And like I said, Chandler Smith ended up taking the race win, but another driver that needed to have a good day and actually did was Ty Majeski. We had put him, I think we put him or did one of us put him in the trash last week, I think, for not performing as well as he did. And then now he's back on the up again and had a stage 2 win and had some good points and for the day and led 23 laps, which is good for them. You wonder what kind of momentum that's going to build with 3 races left. They've got IRP, Richmond, and New Hampshire, so they're shorter ovals. You have one. Well, Richmond's the D-shaped oval, but you have to wonder what sort of momentum this builds for Ty Majeski and that ThorSport team going to IRP here next weekend. I mean, can you take and I mean, I know North Wilkesboro is much, much more. There's much more banking at North Wilkesboro, but could you, in theory, translate this? And it kind of goes back to what we talked about last week with Grant Enfinger. Is can you take this and use this momentum for next week at IRP?
You can absolutely. It just depends on your notes. Are they the same? Are they similar? And I would say they're going to be similar. You can take it pretty much the same setup to either or Wilkesboro or IRP. I would look at what's working, what's not, and this weekend was a really good opportunity to say, okay, I know what it feels like to be top 5, top 10 at this place, here, this pit strategy sucked. Let's not do this. Um, I know pitch strategies can be a little bit different between each short track, and it depends on what compound Goodyear brings. I can't remember if they're the same or different. I only glanced at it a short bit a couple weeks ago. But I would take this opportunity and say, okay, this was a good one. I need more points. Let's see how far I can, push my limits and my team's limits uh, with the notes and the results that we've got.
Yeah, and I just pulled up his Majeski's results and his race history at IRP, and he's raced there 4 times in his truck series career, and he has started no worse than 6th, and he has won twice and finished no lower than 8th. So, I mean, you can definitely argue he knows his way around IRP, that's for sure. Uh, you know, he didn't lead any laps and didn't win last year, but I mean, he's definitely knows his way around. I mean, in the 4 races he has run there over the course of his truck series career, he's led 306 laps out of the 807 possible, which is a pretty good ratio, I would say, for um, laps led out of laps run. So again, I would hope to see him do pretty well next week, especially with where they're sitting in points right now. I know we're kind of jumping around topics again, but points wise, I mean, he needs it as far as momentum building. Now, I know the points reset once we hit the chase, but any points you can build now with 3 races left, I mean, that kind of gives you a cushion going into Richmond and New Hampshire as well. So, God forbid anything happens, you still want to have a little bit of a safety net to work with, so that way you're not racing for your life, racing for your seat, your place in the chase every single week. I don't want to say know that you've got a better opportunity or know that you're in, but um, yeah, like I said, next week should be a good week for him as well. I mean, just the way that he runs there. We had a couple guys that came down and ran. They're not regulars, but they are cup guys that wanted to get a couple extra laps in at North Wilkesboro. SVG came down. Chase Elliott, who is running several more truck races, he's replacing or not replacing. He is running the races that Kyle Busch was supposed to run. At least this one, anyway. Uh, Kyle Busch was supposed to run. So we had Christopher Bell come down as well and run in the truck series. We had Hocevar. We mentioned it earlier. Ryan Newman came back and he was in the Ram All Star truck. Now, I don't know if you saw any of Ryan Newman's comments post race, but again, I did say that he mentioned that NASCAR never should have left, but also he said minus it being hot out, like he could have run another 100 laps, and I think that says something where a guy like that who's been away for a while, but he's still run the cars tour and everything, so like he's not been just sitting on the couch for the last couple of years, but it seemed like he enjoyed himself, and I think that's part of what the Ram All-Star seat is for these guys to come in. Do you have any drivers that you wanna see come in and run that All-Star truck, or do you think, I mean, are there any that you don't wanna see?
I'm willing to see anybody. I know the top popular candidates are Junior, Gordon, Stewart. I think Stewart said he had some sort of interest, but until the head office of NASCAR changes, he says he's probably not going to do it.
Well, he
But
did.
that's right, he did.
He did at Daytona.
That was all. It's been a long season then. Been a
It
real
has.
been action packed season. I totally forgot he did that. I'm I'm sorry I forgot about it. But I would like
It
to see
happens.
Stewart run more of them, especially these short tracks. But maybe Ricky Abreu, or however you say his name.
Rico Abreu.
Abreu, yeah.
He would be
Um,
fun to see.
maybe Leah Pruitt, Tony Stewart's wife. I
Could.
know I'm getting into the Tony Stewart camp here, but they're somewhat Dodge affiliated or in the same realm. Might as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And on the Ram front as well, there was some, I don't want to say breaking news, but some unexpected news I think that came out over the weekend or towards the end of the weekend. MBM Motorsports, also known as Garage 66, they announced or they teased that they are going to be running a Ram truck, switching their affiliation from Ford to Dodge. So that's another blow to Ford as far as a team with an affiliation, but that's also the the first non-colleague Ram affiliation. And there was an interesting thing I saw. I think it was that team, whatever iteration of team it was at the time, was the very last team to run Dodges in the Xfinity series at the time before they switched over to the new body and they outlawed the quote unquote zombie Dodges. So um, the fact that they're the first non-colleague Ram, I mean, do you think that that is going to bode well for that team, small one truck team? Um, I mean, that's who Destiny Spurlock races for in the ARCA series from time to time when she gets the opportunity. Uh, does that open up a spot for her possibly making a couple more truck starts and maybe possibly getting a ride next year with them in the truck series?
It is possible. It just depends on how this race goes and how much money Ram wants to put into other teams, which it sounds like they are willing to put the money where their mouth is. Because I know we're not going to see Dodge in 2027, but it might be 28, 29 that we might see them maybe hop up to the O'Reilly series and then maybe to the Cup series, like what Toyota did for a little while. Um, I would love to see these younger drivers that are kind of stuck at their camps right now, either Ford or Chevy or Toyota, or even just kind of down the pipeline enough. This kind of gives them a little bit of out of, hey, you need a driver over here, but I'm stuck over here. I'm kind of not free, but I'm more available than most. I'll run it. I'll do it. So I think that'll give her an opportunity to, show, give her more opportunities to show I do have something to prove. I'm not just sitting back here being a test driver. I'm willing to race. I'm willing to get dirty. I'm ready to step up.
Yeah, and with her first truck race being Dover, which is one of the more difficult tracks, it was kind of the original plan was for Destiny to get in and run Watkins Glen, and unfortunately, she did not qualify based on time and owner points, and we had a whole thing about that. If you want to go back and watch our episode on that, but with I think she didn't run very much at Dover just because she got taken out in a wreck, and it's very hard to recover from a spin coming out. I think it was coming out of turn 2 at Dover. So I would like to see her get another shot in the Ram truck just to see what she can do. And like we said, with Dodge being willing to put in the money, I wonder if that's going to help that program at all. If it's going to help them become a better team. I mean, I don't know. As far as Dodge coming to the Cup Series, it still sounds like 27 right now sounds like it's still on track. There's nothing set in stone, obviously, but there are rumors that in a couple weeks at Daytona they could make an announcement. They just have to get the body work approved by NASCAR. It sounds like they've been doing a lot of wind tunnel testing from some of the rumors I've seen, which is definitely trending towards the later stages of development. I think their biggest thing now is engine, if I remember reading an article correctly. So it'll be very interesting to see how they end up in if they end up in the Cup Series in 27. But uh, the different Ram trucks that are running right now, they've had a very roller coaster like season, and I think that's just growing pains from the first season back after how many years away, and it's just very very difficult to get back into it. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on Rams' performance in the Truck Series so far this season?
For a first year manufacturer coming back after a while, uh, I I I have seen that it's been kind of hit and miss and kind of spotty. But when they hit, they hit. But when they miss, yeah, you can tell that they're bottom of the barrel of the week. But as everyone's first season, growing pains. I just wish that they had a good run like they did in 2001, coming back to the Cup Series. I know they were in the, I think they were in the Series in 2000, and they did decent. But this time around, with their resurgence again, it's a little bit worse than that. But it's not absolutely terrible. I think next year, now with all the research and development that they have, and now they have dedicated teams that want to run with them, they'll be good competitors in no time. We might have a surprise winner with a Ram here soon, but you know, I don't want to call a fluke, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, especially with all of the like, I went and I think it was a couple weeks before the Charlotte race. I went and talked to Spencer Boyd a little bit, and he said it was kind of difficult for him this season because Ram took and I don't want to say poached, but poached a couple of his guys that he had been working with for a while. So you have guys that have been in the garage for a while now that Dodge has pulled or Ram has pulled for their program to figure out what they can do best. And so it's just kind of hard to for these other teams to replace that. But what Ram has been doing with what they have right now has been, I'd say, pretty decent. Like you said, it's not like it's the worst thing ever. It's not like, they haven't performed at all because they have. So we'll give them until, middle of next year maybe before we fully make a determination, but not really. That's just sarcasm. But it could be they could go way, way up from there, or they can kind of incrementally work their way up, or they could take a step back. You never know. But yeah, they've had an interesting first year back, but this weekend for them, unfortunately, was definitely not it. They didn't have a single truck in the top 20, which is kind of unfortunate. But again, that's just the nature of racing, and North Wilkesboro wasn't the kindest to them, but again, they've only got 3 races left. Their highest truck driver in points right now is Butterbean. He is in 13th, and he is 23 points below the cut line right now. He can possibly sneak his way in. There's, like I said, there's only 3 races left. There's IRP, Richmond, and New Hampshire. So it's very possible he could sneak his way in. Jake Garcia is -11 on the cut line, and we do have a tie currently at the cut line between Stuart Friesen and Tyler Ankrum. And I believe based on, I think it's a couple of metrics, Stuart Friesen is the driver that gets the spot right now. But anything can change, like I said, going into these last 3 weeks. If you had to pick a driver that's right there on the bubble, I would say probably going back to Tanner Gray in 16th at -40. I know that's a stretch, but with 3 races, I mean, you can, in theory, make that up if you have catastrophic failures from those above you. But do you have a driver that you could see sneaking their way in out of those that are currently below the cut line? We can even push it back to Justin Haley at -41. I mean, again, it's gonna take some catastrophic failures from drivers above them. I don't wanna say it's impossible, but it's highly unlikely. But out of those, going back to Justin Haley, can you see any of those guys squeaking their way into the chase, or are we kinda only set between, like, I would say Jake Garcia and Tyler Ankrum and those guys right there?
It's possible. It looks like, Rhodes and Hemrick, if there isn't anything that, you know, bombs their entire season, I'm pretty sure they're locked in. Enfinger is, on the cusp. Uh, I can see Brendan Queen if he gets some good runs. I can see him, dancing on the line during the last race of the regular season. Perez de Lara is a stretch, still possible. Gray and Haley, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna get in. Like you said, there's just too much ground to make up. They might be mathematically in, but one through, you know, 1 through 13 pretty much. 1 through 14. I know Haim is ineligible. I think he's in 14th place in terms of points. There's just too much ground. It's too big of a mountain. I don't think uh, Perez, Gray, or Haley is probably going to make it in. Queen might be dancing on the line, but he's got to have good results the next, what do we say, 3 races left of the season, regular season.
Yep.
So you're going to probably see 52, 18, 98, and 12 if he's up there. Kind of beating and banging and getting their elbows out a little bit. At least I hope so.
I would hope so. Now we'll go back to Butterbean here. If you had to pick one driver for that final spot between Stuart Friesen, Tyler Ankrum, Jake Garcia, and Butterbean, which one of those 4 do you think is gonna earn that final spot?
That's a good question. I have a wishful and I have uh, probable, a statistical probability. My want is Queen, because I do want to see, Dodge get in to the playoffs.
Fair
But
enough.
I think with what's going on, Ankrum and Garcia might be trading blows, and I think Garcia will squeak by.
You think Friesen's gonna backslide just enough to knock himself out?
I believe so. Now, Friesen, Ankrum, and Garcia have run decently well, but if I look here, let's see. Ankrum average finish is 17th or 17.6. Friesen 16.9. Uh, I forgot what Garcia is. I think around there, the 16, 17 mark. Give me a God damn it, damn it, damn it. That's Tamajeski, the wrong number, damn it. And Jake Garcia is 17.7. So they're all basically right around each other on the track. Finishing position, running position. So unless Friesen starts getting more top fives, top tens to get points and even stage points, I think Garcia he's pulling his weight. He's getting a lot better. Minus his Nashville and San Diego, he's putting up good numbers. Garcia is.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is like this past weekend was a great result for Stuart Friesen. Finished eighth, and he ended up getting some stage points in stage two. So he ended up making up a lot of ground. These last couple weeks, he's moved his way from 13th up to 10th in points, and so he's had a great back half of the regular season. And as far as what I see happening, I see everybody else behind him not keeping up with consistency in the last three races. I think for me, I see Stuart Friesen being the one to make it in out of those four. Like you said, I think ooh, last night was not even a late night, and I'm tired. But um, I don't think Butterbean has enough to make up the 23 points. Just with their inconsistencies that they have that Rams had this season, I think that's to his detriment. Now, don't count them out next year because again, they'll have a whole year under their belt to figure this out and stuff like that. But I just don't think they're consistent enough and or ready enough for the chase. Ram is, but I think Stuart Friesen is going to make it in for sure. That's just me. We'll revisit it here in a couple weeks once the chase starts, and we'll see how wrong both of us are. Because watch, it's going to be probably Jake Garcia that squeaks his way in, just because we have different thoughts. But you never know how that can go.
You never know
But
who's going to fall flat on their face either, or just have a not a generational run, but a Mister Where did you come from kind of performance. That
yeah,
can happen from the three of them. So
exactly.
I'm not counting out Friesen all the way, but I think Garcia is a little bit stronger of the three. But that's that's just my statistical gut feeling.
I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I mean, if you think that, I won't stop you from it. It's just going to be interesting to see which one of those drivers can make their way into the chase with three interesting tracks left. And I know we've mentioned it a couple times, but it should be fun to watch. Like I said, we'll definitely be tuning in and keeping you guys posted as far as where everybody sits in the points for the truck series and everything like that. But the cup race, now again, I haven't gone back and watched it on TV yet, but was it as entertaining on TV or was it still kind of boring?
It was very, very entertaining, especially for both series. Sure, there was some there's a little bit of a train going on, but once tires started to fall off, passing became more frequent and harder. Uh, People catching up, you know, to the back bumpers of who they were chasing. Like I said, earlier in the episode, I hope it's a mainstay for all three series. In fact,
Yeah. Having the O'Reilly series come back would be a ton of fun too because I mean, obviously these guys not running there. I mean, you have a couple of the truck guys that have been in the O'Reilly series, Hemrick and Haley and things like that, but it would be fun to see all three series come back and they have a heck of a weekend out of it. But the Cup Series, like I said, that race was entertaining just being there. Like I said, just with the energy and the fans were super into it. I was walking around for most of it, but where my seats were at, there were quite a few Chase Elliott fans, and every time he would pass somebody, they'd be cheering him on and doing the whole "go go go" thing, and so they would be having a ton of fun with that, and it was fun watching them, and everybody was getting super into it, and you could tell that the passionate fans were there. I want to say they had fans from all 50 states plus 8 countries, so it was definitely well interest was high on the event. I'll just say that, and so it was a ton of fun to be there and actually talk to a couple people about you know with uh, them being at their first race or this being like their first NASCAR weekend. There was a guy and his wife I met. I got his name. His name was Chase. I don't think I got her name, but they were they were new to racing, and so I was explaining the point system and how the stages work and stuff like that. And that's what kind of brings me joy going to the track every week that I can is like getting to introduce new people to the sport. And they were asking about the tires and if they crash, can they get fixed and this, that, and the other. And bringing people into the sport and they're like, oh, they don't just turn left. It's like there's a ton of strategy. There's racing within the race. You know, there's a ton of things that can happen, ton of things that you can control, ton of things that you can't control. So, it was fun explaining to them how things work, and it was super fun to get to talk to people, especially after everybody got dried off from all that rain. But yeah, the on track action was definitely a ton of fun to watch as a fan as well. I mean, there were I was a little worried when they announced that they had changed the short track package a little bit to where the bumpers were a little bit softer. I think what was it? There's fewer contact points, so it's a lot more sensitive to contact, and I was worried that that was going to be a detriment to the racing product itself. But it seemed like guys really didn't care. I mean, yeah, they weren't beating and banging as much as they do at Martinsville or Bristol, but that just caused them to get creative in how they passed each other in other ways. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I thought it was great fun, and it was a ton of fun to watch some guys run up towards the front that we haven't seen up at the front all year. Brad Keselowski was one that he's been hit or miss, but the Fords in general this week seemed to hit on something that turned out pretty good for everybody involved. Todd Gilliland, and we haven't mentioned it much, but he moves on in the in-season tournament that again we haven't mentioned, but he's pulling off the Cinderella run this season. Um, he was originally the 25th seed when this in-season tournament started. He took down Suarez, who was the number 8 seed at Sonoma. Then he beat Hocevar at Chicagoland, who was the 9 seed. And then last weekend at Atlanta, or Echo Park, I'm still going to call it Atlanta, he took down the 32 seed Alex Bowman. And then this week he was up against Chase Elliott, and he took down Chase Elliott. So this upcoming weekend at Indy is going to be very fun because he's going up against a guy that's got a show there at Indy in Ryan Blaney. So it should be pretty fun to watch those two go at it. For those of you that don't know about the in-season tournament, it's something for everybody to kind of keep interest throughout the course of the season. And the whole goal is, I think it's in the 5 races leading up to it. It's whoever they have the top 32 based on points and average finish in the 5 races prior to the start. I believe that's how they seeded it. And so that's how everybody kind of got put into the seeding as they did it's very similar to March Madness in the fact that it's head to head, it's a tournament, and the winner gets the winning driver gets $1 million. The whole goal, for every race is the driver that you're going up against. You just want to finish better than them. You don't have to win the race, but you just have to finish better than them. And so that's where we saw a lot of upsets. We saw week one of the in season tournament. We actually weren't tuned into it because we were on vacation, but that's where we saw Alex Bowman take down Tyler Reddick, and that was a very, very shocking result. Now, if we go back and look at it hindsight with the way that Reddick's summer slump is or summer stretch has been, it's been a slump. But we've seen upsets like that. We saw Gilliland making it through as far as he did. Um, Not really anything crazy on the right side of the bracket. I mean, SVG taking down Ryan Priest. Now, SVG was a favorite, or he was a favorite going into Sonoma, number one, because it was Sonoma, but number two, he was the higher seed. But um, the right side of the bracket kind of played out how everybody expected it to, but we had a lot of upsets on the left side. Uh, Michael McDowell was a surprise winner over Bubba Wallace. With McDowell being a road course racer, I guess it shouldn't have been too surprising that he beat out Bubba at Sonoma, but it's been pretty fun to watch, and there's been some off-track drama as well that's kind of fed into this as well. I think Zane Smith was going up against, or he wasn't going up against him, but Zane Smith had some comments for Hocevar uh, in the first round or after the first round, and it's kind of spilled over a little bit, and people have booed Zane Smith, people have booed his teammate Todd Gilliland, but it's created for some good entertainment, I think. What do you think about this whole in-season challenge now that this is the second season of it? Do you think it's warranted? Do you think it's needed? Or do you think we should just go away from it and go back to nothing in the middle of summer?
I think it's been a good thing. It's it was kind of confusing on what it was at first, but after everyone's starting to explain it and actually see it in action, it's kind of like the Noble Five that was in the mid '90s. Is finish better than everyone. You don't this time you don't have to win all the races or win 3 out of the 4, or 3 out of the 6, or whatever it was. This gives everyone an opportunity to, you know, get that $1 million. I do think it's a little much. They need to either stay with stages or the in-season tournament. I'm hearing some rumblings. They're not confirmed, but a little bit louder talks of stages might be going away with maybe a rewritten TV deal. But it is a little much when you're trying to stage points, full season points, chase this weird little in-season tournament thingy. It could be confusing, but I'm okay sticking with it for a little bit longer just to see where it goes. Maybe shorten up the field a little bit instead of 25. Maybe have only the top 12, top 16. Maybe have them go head to head 2 weeks in a row. I don't know. Maybe that's just my thing.
I mean, because you could do it top 16, that would drop it down to 4 weeks. You could do top 8, that would draw it out to 3 weeks. You can do it a couple different combinations, but I don't know. I don't mind it. It's one of those things where I was a little skeptical on it at first, but at the end of the day, like it drums up interest. It keeps people watching. It also makes TNT and Prime, Amazon Prime's broadcasts feel like they're worth a little bit more because they do have this in-season tournament, so there is something to tune in for because there's something attached to it. But, you know, is it gonna stick around? I don't think so. But then again, with all the fan engagement, we could see it stick around for a little while longer. I mean, I know I'm kinda wishy-washy on it right now, but I don't know, it seems like some people like it, some people don't. I think at the end of the day, like, if we're gonna do it, either lean into it super hard or we pull away from it and don't do it again, but I don't know, I think it kinda depends on the demographic you ask. Because if you were to ask the diehards, not a lot of them care for it, but if you ask, the younger fans who are just now getting into the sport or fairly newer fans, some of them kinda like it just because it's something different. It gives them a reason to pay attention to the smaller battles that you typically wouldn't throughout the summer stretch in particular, but maybe you might focus on guys you might not otherwise, like Michael McDowell or Todd Gilliland or Austin Cindric or, those guys that typically don't get all the attention because they're not as talked about. So, when they make these surprise runs, it makes it entertaining for everybody to watch. So, it's been fun to watch it, and like I said, it will conclude next week at Indy with Todd Gilliland and Ryan Blaney, 2 Ford drivers. So, I had Blaney going through in my bracket. Unfortunately, I had Suarez winning the whole thing, and he got knocked out round 1, so kinda busted my bracket right off the bat. But,
I think I had Bell winning the whole thing. Uh, I can't remember who he was up against. I think I had Suarez and Bell for for the last race, but I
yeah.
can't remember. I all I know is everyone's bracket was busted race 1 just like last year. So
Yeah, Bell actually he lost last week to or this past week to, uh, Blaney, so, um, I would say if Blaney were to win it, not a bad look to lose to the, tournament winner. Now if he loses, then you then you're like, "Man, I wish I coulda done something different at Wilkesboro," but, um, it was a tough race for him. They had a couple of things not quite go right for them. They had some issues, and, um, I wanna say they had a pit road penalty at some point too, so very not the easiest of days for Bell. Uh, they had how many drivers were on the lead lap? 6?
the top 6 were on the lead lap. The top 10 were a lap down, and I think 11th on back were like 2, 3, 4, 8. So it was a little bit of a mixed bag, but I thought only the top 5 were going to be it, but it looked like uh, Bubba Wallace was actually keeping pace, or Logano slowed down a little bit, and Logano didn't pass Bubba, for the 5th place going a lap down. But I think Keselowski, I think, was the last one on the lead lap. I can't remember. I don't have my sheet with me.
Bubba was the last one on the lead lap. Brad was the first one a lap down.
That's right, because he was 7th. Bubba was 6th.
Yep. But it was a good old fashioned butt whooping from Joey Logano, and he needed it. I mean, he was sitting, I think, coming into the race, he was -8 to the cut line, and I personally had questions of, is he even gonna make the chase this year? And with him winning the race, he earned 73 points, which is all but 3 points that you can possibly get. Uh, he jumped up to plus 49 to the cut line. So gaining, what is that, 57 points on the day? is quite the turnaround. Is that going to make a massive difference if he can if he can't sustain it? I don't know. They've only got 5 races left too, so it's going to be very interesting to see. He's got to put together some consistent runs. His team owner, Roger Penske, owns Indianapolis, so we'll see how that goes there, whether or not they cheat up the Fords at the home track. But then they've got Iowa, Richmond, New Hampshire, and Daytona. I know Iowa, Blaney has done well at. I don't know if they're going to take any notes from his setups and help the Penske guys out a little bit too, but we'll have to wait to see. But going back to Wilkesboro though, I mean it was very very interesting to see again some of these guys in the top that you wouldn't typically suspect. One of them being good old SVG. Did you have that on your bingo card of SVG finishing top 5 at Wilkesboro?
I kind of was eyeing him for fantasy. I'm like, maybe he might get a top 5, top 10. And then I didn't, and I'm kicking myself for it. He is doing a lot better. I think if he stays next year, I believe he is a threat to the actual championship next year. Maybe not win the full thing, but he'll be top 5 in the actual point standings for sure. So whatever he's doing, whoever is coaching him, and whatever notes he's looking at, he's doing very, very well, and he is now in the dangerous category now.
Yeah, he finished 5th. His other 2 Trackhouse teammates finished 27th in Chastain and 32nd in Zillage. So does that say something about the way that team has been working together? Whether that he was that was the other thing. He was the highest finishing Chevy. Think about that.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like all of these things that he's improved on. I mean, he's willing to put his bumper to guys. He's willing to he led laps. He led 49 laps last night. I mean, he's not just having a fluke run. He's running very well. And it's been interesting and fun to watch his skill improve on these short tracks. And it's going to get very very interesting to see because he gained on the cut line as well. He's now plus 50 right above Joey Logano, and that's a little bit of a cushion for him. Do I think he makes it? I don't know. It's going to be very close just because you've got Indy is very difficult, and then Daytona at the very end is always a crapshoot. So you could end up getting 1 point, and that ruins your entire season. But um, or you could end up having a fantastic finish to the year and making your way in. But he's keeping himself in contention with his improvement at all tracks, and it's been fun to watch him progress. Ryan Preece, who I had, he's a short track guy. I thought he was going to do what he did at Bowman Gray and win that race. Unfortunately, he didn't. But a top 10 finish for Preece was fantastic. The RFK guys in general were great. Unfortunately, Chris Buescher was the lowest finishing of the 3, back in 20th. But regardless, I mean, it's kind of hard you know to talk negatively on a top 20 when you're 3 laps down and still running. So especially when Joey was doing what he was doing. But as far as Joey, like what with him leading 323 out of the 450 laps, where would you put that as far as winning performance on the year? Was that one of the most dominant wins we've seen this year, or was it just one of those, well, you can't pass at North Wilkesboro?
I'm going to put in the category of that's probably one of the more dominant uh, butt whoopings of the year. I know the past couple, Denny Hamlin has just said, "Oh no, I'm not gonna, keep up with the second place leader. I'm gonna run away." This was an actual, I have something to prove. I need all the points I can get, almost getting max points. Joey Logano really dominated, and I think this is the most dominant race so far. In fact, I think the most dominant. I don't want to say all the way back to Martin Truex with his Coke 600 win, but it very dominant. No one could touch him in terms of pace, strategy. You know, his whole team, and we kind of keep forgetting that Todd Parrott is an anomaly genius at times. So I'm glad that they've, as much as I hate Joey Logano, and I just love hating on him. This was one of the few Joey Logano wins where I'm like, I'm okay with that. I didn't hate it. You know, he wasn't trying to be the bad guy. He was just trying to go out there and win. So I don't think the boos were warranted that I heard, especially towards the kid. His kid, come on, that was a little bit
Uh,
stupid.
I those must have been a little bit amplified because at least where I was at, there were quite a bit of cheers. So, I don't know if it was just because I was surrounded by a ton of cheers, but, I mean, it seemed like it wasn't an unhappy win for the crowd, like, I think people enjoyed it, and like you were saying back to Joey about having something to prove, he did say in his post-race show that, or in the post-race show that, yeah, a win would have been great coming into the weekend, but they were looking for points, and they got it. They got, was it 17 stage points, 18 stage points? He won stage 2 and finished 3rd in stage 1. It looked like he was gonna challenge SVG and Ty Gibbs for that stage 1 win, but unfortunately, I think Ty Gibbs had too much for him there. But once once Joey got the lead late, I mean, you could argue this was one of his most dominant wins of his career. And again, I'm not the biggest Joey fan either, but just the way that that car had speed this weekend, uh, they made the right adjustments. I think it was basically at the end of stage 1, and then like I said, once he took the lead, nobody could really touch him, and it was like, okay, well, who's going to compete for second? And you had the Gibbs guys, 2, 3, 4, and then where was the other one? Bell back in 19th. I thought Bell was going to do much better because he did have some of the fastest laps in practice, and he had just gotten his cast off on Saturday too, so his wrist seems to be healed for the most part. I don't know exactly how he's physically feeling, obviously, because we're not him, but I don't know if a lot of the grind of 450 laps at North Wilkesboro, if that had anything to do with it. I know they had some, like I said, some pit road issues and things like that. So not the best performance for them, but the the other three Gibbs teammates did fantastic up at the front. Like I said, Ty Gibbs was looking pretty strong as well. Got a stage 1 win. Unfortunately, just couldn't keep up with Joey, and I think that's just kind of the story of the Cup race is nobody could keep up with him. I mean,
What in
we did.
NASCAR say Joey Logano's looking very even yearly today, and also uh,
Yeah,
he is playing into the mantra of, oh, this is a brand new track on the schedule. Technically, Joey Logano is poised to win it. Nashville, Wilkesboro. I think he won the All Star race when they were back here the first time. So I don't know. Maybe don't overlook Joey Logano when there's something new or something to prove.
yeah. I mean, he's got something to prove, and he wants everybody to know that Blaney is not the only Penske car that's got speed. So we did have an unfortunate Ford driver go out early, and that was Josh Berry. He got taken out by Christopher Bell. Bell got loose going into 3, I believe it was, and just ended up going up the track and getting into Josh Berry and ending his day. Um, and I do want to mention Josh Berry a little bit. He's had a very rough, I'll say, 18 months. After his Vegas win, it feels like things just haven't fallen right. I mean, obviously he doesn't have an official ride for next year, um, and with watching what happened in the playoffs last year, with it seemed like every race he was getting caught up in something, and then this year it seems like nothing can go his way either. I mean, he was second to last this week, and it was through no fault of his own. He was running pretty well too, and he had mentioned in his post race or in his media center interviews, it's like he felt like he had a fast car, a top 10 car, and if they could have made the right adjustments, maybe things would have played out different. He had fast practice speed, and if he had said if they qualified, or if they had the opportunity to qualify, which they didn't because of the weather, they possibly could have started up towards the front and been in a better position to avoid something like this. So if you're Josh Berry, number one, please keep your head up and keep pushing forward, because I enjoy seeing you race. But it's got to be demoralizing, and it's not necessarily the same situation Zilich is in, but it's like they both have had crap luck. But with Josh Berry, it's been almost 2 years in a row that he's been having this. So what would like if you were to say something to Josh Berry? I doubt he's going to hear it, but if he does, what would you have to say to him at this point with the luck he's had?
I would say what you just said is just, keep your head up. But at the same time, if you think you need a new team or a fresh new start somewhere else, speak up. I get it. You're at the Wood Brothers, you're at a prestige team, but they're not the best all the time. They have flashes of brilliance. They do have good qualifying speed, but they haven't been the best these past 2 years. Yes, you had to win. They had pretty close wins in uh, 24 Daytona and 25 Las Vegas. I know this is only your second season with them, but like I said, if you don't think it's a good fit, you need to speak up. There's plenty of opportunities out there. I'm pretty sure if the Wood Brothers ride opens up, someone might slip out of their seat. But
Well, you do remember Jesse Love is already confirmed for that seat next year. So
that's right. It's been a couple weeks. So I want to continue to see you in the series, but like I said, if you're better off at the lower series, you can absolutely make a career out of that.
yeah, just look at Allgaier, and you could argue Josh Berry was, in some ways a little bit better than what Allgaier was doing at times. So there's nothing wrong with being an O'Reilly lifer. I mean, sometimes like Allgaier's made a career out of it. He hasn't always had the best cup, rides or the best cup results, but he's he's fantastic in the O'Reilly series. So I I'll be interested to see where Josh Berry goes. Regardless, I'm going to be a fan of him just because I enjoy his hard work and his work ethic and everything like that. So I'm very, very hopeful for his future. It's just like they were saying from front stretch. It's like how do you go and try to sell yourself for next year when you don't have the opportunity to finish races because things are out of your control? Like that's what's got to be frustrating.
Well, we all know the winner gets the glory at the end of the day, but not every story ends in victory lane. Some performances deserve to be hung on the fridge, but others you'd rather kick to the curb. Welcome to Fridge or Trash. So, who would be your refrigerator driver for the truck series?
I'm gonna go with two. I'm gonna go with a part timer or a not full time driver, and then I'm gonna go with a full time driver. My non full time driver is going to be SVG, Van Guggenheimer. Finished third in the race, and it that should have told us all we needed to know as far as what he was going to do Sunday night. He was able to make that truck work. The 71 Spire truck looked fast all night. Obviously, it wasn't the fastest of trucks because nobody could beat the front row guys. But as far as best of the rest, I mean, he definitely was. And that, I believe, gave him some additional opportunities to kind of fine tune what he wanted to do. It gave him the ability to run the extra laps at North Wilkesboro that I know are very helpful because, again, you haven't been there or you've been there one time. So having the opportunity to have those additional laps and everything definitely helps. And then the other one I'm going to go with is, well, I'm going to go with two full timers or two other drivers, another part timer and then a full timer. I know I said one, but I'll go with two. Landon Lewis in the 45 for Nice Motorsports also had a fantastic day, a top 5 finish for him. He, again, doesn't run all the time, but when he does, he tends to surprise for some reason, but I don't know why I'm surprised anymore because he's got a lot of talent. I just want to see him get a full-time ride so he's not doing this whole part-time schedule thing. I want to see him develop and continue to progress in the sport and see where he can go. And then my my other driver that I'm going to put as my fridge driver, that's my full-time driver for the year, is Stuart Friesen. And we talked about him earlier. He's made his way up in the points the last couple of weeks now. He finished 8th this past week at Wilkesboro and scored some stage points to go with his 8th place finish. So got to hand it to him. He's doing everything he can to work his way up. He's, like I said, tied for the cut line right now, but he currently has the position. I believe it's based on average finish or like last 5. I don't remember exactly how that metric works, but he's currently in by the skin of his teeth, by, the thinnest of margins, but I know he'd like to be in a little bit more. So definitely have to give it to Stuart Friesen this week for just putting in the work and putting in the effort and continuing to show speed. Who's your fridge driver for the week in the truck series?
We're probably singing his praises a lot, but I'm going to keep doing it. Christian Eckes, who came in 4th place. Seeing his finishes trend upward, and I'm very pleased to see that he's up there after having not so good finishes, towards the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
My trash. Go ahead. You can splice in. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, Eckes is definitely improving himself quite a bit. He's had a very quiet season as well, and I did overlook him, but getting stage points in both stages and putting together a solid race, nothing to complain about right there. That's a good race.
And my trash driver, I'm going to probably, unfortunately, have to say Daniel Hemrick. Normally he's, top 10, top 15, but seeing him in 20th place, I get it to short track. Yeah, you can go a couple laps down and not really recover, but he's better at short tracks than that.
Yeah, Hemrick he definitely had a tough race. Um, I was gonna go with their teammate Tyler Ankrum, but I have two choices. One is a driver, one is a team. Driver Andres Perez, he needs every point he can get right now, and unfortunately, finishing 23rd is not gonna do it for you. You've got to have better finishes than that. You got to be able to put it together, especially late in the race. I know you know, you want like stage points in stage 2. Great. They're points. However, you've gotta be there at the end when it really truly matters, and unfortunately, 2 laps down isn't gonna do it. And then the other trash performance I have to give is Ram as a whole. No trucks in the top 20. Um, Butterbean in 21st. Everybody was at least a lap down. Just whatever setups they had for the week didn't hit, and they were just lacking speed. Ryan Newman said it as well. He said they all sucked this weekend. Like, it's just kind of the nature of it. When you miss, you miss, and this was definitely one that they wanna toss in the trash and forget about. But we're gonna stay on that little negative note here because typically we don't. But who was your trash performance from the Cup Series?
I have 2 of them, and one of them comes with a caveat.
Fair.
Elliott Chase Elliott was kinda bottom of the barrel, this week for me. I'm not gonna put Bowman just yet because he's still kinda recovering. He's just kinda, gathering points this year just to recover for next year. But Elliott, I think, probably had the not great performance because he is pretty good at short tracks, and I thought he would actually be very, very decent at Wilkesboro this year, but just couldn't put it together. 17th place is not the greatest look for him right now, but there's other races. Uh, I know he could do a lot better at other short tracks, but this one was just a fluke.
Yeah.
And then I have Chastain, who came in 27th. Now the caveat with that is he also had an unimproved adjustment, just like Blaney, or a part or whatever. He had to be sent to the back, and he just could not get on the lead lap to save his life. Yeah, he finished not 5, 6, 7 laps down, but you know when you're back that far and you're just riding around, just getting past left, right, center. Like I've said before, you're just kind of turning into the test car at this point. Let's throw on this. Let's do this. Let's do this adjustment. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, that works. Let me put it on, you know, SVG up there or whatnot. So
Yeah. See what
I know
works.
Zilich was kind of down further, but Chastain's usually better than this.
Yeah. I wanna agree with you on Chastain down there just because, again, he's typically better than this. It's been a rough year for him, and with that, 27th place finish now, he actually dropped 2 spots in the points as well, so 83 points out of it. It's gonna be tough for him to work his way back out of the hole, or continue to climb out of the hole, I should say, but he's got to be down there. And then, I mean, I don't want to say he's come back down to earth a little bit, but Cole Custer as well. He was having a really solid run there of a couple top 15s, and I thought they had found something in that Haas Chevy, and I don't know what it was, but whether it was like all the Chevys that kind of missed, or a bunch of them that missed, or whether Haas is kind of coming back down, like I said, to earth or whatnot, but finishing in 28th, you want to be better, especially after that great run he had of the top 15s and top 20s, and then to finish in 28th is not where you need to be. Honorable mention for my trash driver has to be Reddick. He did get involved, had some contact, and I believe when he came down, he said his steering wheel after the contact. He said his steering wheel was at about 1 o'clock, uh, so it was just ever so slightly off. And then I think they got it almost fixed, but it was pretty early on. In I believe it was stage, or was it late in stage two? I believe, or was it? It might have been in stage two, but contact between him and Bowman coming down to pit road, and that kind of derailed his whole day, and they had to come in and make more adjustments, and it just you can't get back on the lead lap when you're that far down. So honorable mention for him. As far as fridge drivers flipping things back around, there's a couple. SVG is one of them. He's kind of the obvious one, but again, top 5 at a short track, leading 49 laps and consistently having the speed up there, being able to keep up with the leaders, being able to almost get himself a stage win was incredible to watch. And just the way that he was able to slice and dice his way through lap traffic and being able to navigate that is not easy on a short track. And the fact that he's learning very quickly and picking up on it and figuring out his way around these short tracks is always fun to see. And then the honorable mention is I got to give it to Todd Gilliland, the Todd father this week. He just he's found something, and they're I don't know whether they're using that underdog mentality. I know his is it him or I think it's Zane Smith has the Aaron's sponsor, but we need to get that sponsorship over to Todd Gilliland, and they need to run the underdog this upcoming week at Indy because he's using that as motivation. I think secretly, I don't think he wants to let it on, but he's putting on good performances so far, and he's looking to challenge Blaney for the in season tournament next week. So it should be fun to watch that little battle and see if he can keep that momentum going.
I'm going to have to pick Keselowski. I'm surprised you didn't pick him for coming in 6th after being basically 7th. On my notes, I think I put it down wrong, but Keselowski, after being basically a bottom feeder for a long while, just couldn't, this summer seems like couldn't get past 2 or 3 laps down at times. Just couldn't put together races. I thought he was actually going to sneak in a little bit of a win there, like he did at Darlington a couple years ago. But I'm very proud of him coming in 7th, top 10. What did it say here? This is only like 3rd or 4th this year. Let me double check. I don't want to give wrong information here. His 2nd top 5 and his 5th top 10. So
Definite improvement.
Better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I'm going to cheaty doodle here, and I'm going to go with Blaney in 11th because he also had to start in the back because of, I think, a steering pump replacement that he needed. And coming from basically last place, staying on the lead lap, not going so many laps down or multiple laps down, and finishing on a very, very short track in 11th, only, 2 laps down? That's impressive. I do have to hang that up on the fridge. I do have to hang that up on the fridge this year.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing too is like what benefited him not going a lap down was when he started in the back, he didn't have to start the pass-through penalty. That's what hurt Chastain because he failed inspection multiple times. That Chastain had to start the penalty, so that put him a lap down. And then by the time he got back out there, and they were running, and before the first caution hit, Chad Fincham in the 66 was lapped. So Chastain was not able to get the free pass. So that set him back for basically the whole day. And so with Blaney not having to do the pass through, and then being able to, I mean, he had a fast car in practice, so they knew going into it that they were going to be able to pass some cars anyway if they needed to. Well, then obviously you have to replace that piece and start in the back. I mean, he did a fantastic job with what he had. So I mean, we got to give him credit there. And he was doing really well all race long, and it seemed like there were points where he just kind of he would pop up the top 15. You're like, how did he get here? I thought he was in the back, but it was a good run for him. And it was just a great race overall between everybody. I mean, being able to be back at North Wilkesboro for the Cup Series for the first points race in 30 years was awesome. Um, Again, like just you can feel the history in the place. You can feel like the old timey feel, if you will. Uh, it's every bit of what I pictured it would be, and then some, just because of the way that they've improved the track. And I mean, it's fantastic. And if anybody can get there for a race, I highly recommend it. I know it's not an easy ticket to get, but if you can snag a ticket, um, definitely, it is definitely worthwhile. Uh, the energy, the vibe there is unreal. Uh, I mean, if when they come back, I will be there for sure. But yeah, all these pictures behind me, if you like them, I was there this obviously this weekend, and they'll be posted on these, and many more will be posted on the website in the coming days. So if you want to, feel free to check those out. That'd be fantastic. Um, but we appreciate you guys for tuning in this week. I know it was a little bit of a hodgepodge. We were kind of everywhere, but what we'll try to get a little bit better at a structure eventually, maybe, possibly. But we appreciate you guys again for tuning in. Feel free to share, comment. We'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on the weekend. Uh, Quickly before we go, I do want to get your thoughts, Tyler, on this upcoming week at Indy. We have both the O'Reilly Series coming back after an off week, Cup Series, and then the trucks, obviously, at IRP just down the road. Anybody to watch out for that we might need to keep our eyes on? You think Bubba's going to repeat?
I don't think he's going to repeat, but he's probably going to have another top 5 performance. I I have a probably a wrong gut feeling about Reddick might actually come in come in clutch and win. Otherwise, I think it's going to be another Toyota win. Um, I
Fair.
uh, seeing how the Chevys are doing right now, I don't think that they're going to be too high up there. But then again, I've been proven wrong time and time again every time I make these predictions or even open up my mouth. So I
Whatever
can
you
see
say, bet against it, right?
correct. Yeah, trust me with your money. Don't worry about it. But I do think that with these kinds of tracks like Indy or the faster tracks that require good top speed, Toyota's up there, Ford's up there, Chevy kind of run with them, but I cannot see a Chevy winning, at least not with this package right now.
Yeah. For the O'Reilly series, is there anybody you're thinking could potentially steal one? Are we going to see another Austin Hill crash out moment again, or has he learned his lesson from last year?
Hopefully he has learned his lesson. It seemed like it. It has seemed like it, but what's I'm just looking at my notes here. I can probably see this same top 12, maybe different jostled order. Maybe Parker Retzlaff finally squeaks one in and isn't robbed anymore. But realistically, I think Allgaier will probably get another trophy to his name.
Yeah, I do want to see somebody else other than Allgaier. Like you said, a Parker Retzlaff win would be awesome. That'd be a heck of a track uh, to get your first win at, especially as a Midwest kid. That'd be awesome. But IRP, you got anybody? Any? Is it going to be the Lane Riggs show once again, or are we gonna see somebody else?
I think it'll still be another front row show. Lane Riggs might actually win one. He's been winning all the stage points. He just needs to, if he wants to win, he's got to put it together. So I can see, like I said, the top minus a couple of one-offs here. The top probably 6, top 7 is probably going to stay the same. Then again, Stuart Friesen might get in the top 3 and get a really nice, points payday. So we'll see.
Yeah, should be fun. Like I said, I won't be there this weekend. I won't be at a race now until Darlington, but I'll be actually able to cover the race as it happens since I'll be at home with internet. So feel free to tune in on race day for all the live racing updates as well. But again, feel free to share, comment. We'd love to hear from you. Um, Definitely follow along on all platforms. That'd be very much appreciated. But again, we will be back next week after the Indy races, and we will get you all caught up with all the points and all the storylines and everything like that. But until then, have a great week, and we will be back after Indy.
And don't forget, we are starting some shorts on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So go ahead and check those out.
Of course, those following along on those platforms definitely helps as well. So feel free to follow along on all platforms. I'll have them linked down below, and share them, comment. We'd love to hear honest opinions, but still keeping it civil. That would be fantastic. But again, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you after Indy.
Sorry, I had to plug them in there because you were working really hard on them. Oh, I don't know if it was
Yeah.
Instagram or TikTok or something. The Hocevar one, the 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 captions and the audio were off. The video was in sync, but the captions were like way ahead. It seemed like on one of them. It was only on one of the platforms. I can't remember. I don't know if it was.
It might have been TikTok because I, for some reason, TikTok was stupid with one of them, and because for one of them it only posted like the minute clip, and then the second one I think it has to be TikTok because TikTok is just stupid. I got to double check before I post them, but
Double check your settings or upload settings or something. Sometimes they'll do stupid.
yeah.
So, all right, we got to run errands here, and then I have to go take a nap before I have to go in. So,
Sounds good, but we will talk to you later. And like I said, this should be up tomorrow. So,
all right, no worries. Hopefully you didn't hear at some point. I try to mute myself as much as possible. The cough button, I guess the announcers call it. I think she made some noise, and I realized, oh, I am not muted.
it's all right. I'll cut it out so she's not in there.
If you want to cut the audio or mute it, but if you can't, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
People just say, "Well, what noise is that?" Oh, just my baby. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but we will talk to you later.
And talk to you later.
Well, I got to end the Discord recording.